It took a little longer than expected for your Phillies to acquire consecutive wins. It took more time than anticipated to get the offensive production Ryan Sandberg was looking for in his first 4 games at the helm. It took way too long for the team's closer to acquire his 21st save of the season. But in the end, a W still feels really good. How does 3 in a row sound? The Phillies are hoping it sounds excellent after tonight's ball game with the Colorado Rockies. They've won back-to-back games for the first time since the second week of July. Now they'll get set for Game 2 of their 4-game series against the Colorado Rockies. They'll do so 14 games under 500. Now, the Phillies have been successful against the Rockies in many ways over the last 19 ball games here in Philadelphia. They've out-hit Colorado. They've also out-homered Colorado, and they certainly have out-pitched them. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy, along with Chris Wheeler. The Phillies will go to work tonight with another young pitcher out on the mound. Tyler Cloyd makes his return from Lehigh Valley, and he's hoping to keep the momentum of that graphic we just showed you rolling off last night's game.
Yeah, and he's on a hot streak right now, Tom. He's pitched very, very well for the Iron Pigs. He's done okay since he's been with the Phillies, better on the road than at this ballpark, so maybe he can pick it up here tonight since the Phillies play so well against the Rockies. This is what he's done so far in his major league starts here with the Phillies this season. 6 of them, a record of 2-2, an earned run average of 3.41. He had a real good one down in Miami back in May. He went 7 innings in this game, gave up 2 earned runs. His whole game depends on command of his breaking stuff. Throws a lot of cutters and sliders and changeups. When he has command, he can pitch pretty well. When he's in the middle of the plate, he's behind the hitters, then he's going to struggle a little bit. But this was one of those games on the road in a big ballpark where he must have felt very comfortable and pitched great. The only bad start that he's had on the road this year was in Boston at Fenway. Mentioned he's a hot pitcher right now. This is what he's done in his last 7 starts at Lehigh Valley, and he's coming off 2 straight complete games, 1 a win and 1 a loss, one of those complete games, and 8 inning jobs. So hopefully they can get him going here in this ballpark tonight and pick up another win. As you said, 3 would be sweet.
You know, Wheels, it's reminiscent for Tyler Cloyd with how hot he was last year when he was the International League Pitcher of the Year. He wound up combined between AA and AAA with a 15-1 record. He's pitching that well. We'll see if it carries over to the big leagues here tonight. He'll be opposed by left-hander Jorge De La Rosa, who really has turned around his career after Tommy John surgery to win 12 games this season in 25 starts. And again, as Wheel said, Cloyd making his 7th start of the year. Well, last night the bullpen certainly did its job late. Jake Diekman, 99 miles an hour. And then they gave things over to Jonathan Papelbon. A little bit of a hiccup to start, but then he was able to get LeMahieu in a caught stealing. Lineups at first pitch when we return. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Toyota. Toyota's nationwide clearance event is going on now. Toyota, let's go places. By Xfinity, the official HD triple play provider of your Phillies. By Citizens Bank, where good banking is good citizenship. Isn't it time you experience good banking? And by Independence Blue Cross, the most preferred health plan in the region. Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Game 2 of this 4-game series. The Colorado Rockies, the third-place team in the National League West, the opponent again tonight. Let's take a look at their lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Leading it off in center field, Dexter Fowler. DJ LeMahieu, the second baseman, bats second. Troy Tulowitzki hits third, followed by the right fielder Michael Kadire. Todd Helton, the first baseman, bats fifth. Willeen Rosario, the catcher, bats sixth. Nolan Arenado, the third baseman, will bat seventh. Batting eighth and playing left field is Charlie Blackmon. Jorge De La Rosa is the starting pitcher for tonight's ball game. And they'll face 26-year-old right-hander Tyler Cloyd, making his 7th start of the year here in the big leagues. He hasn't been around for a while. Back up from AAA.
Last time he pitched for the Phillies was at a 4-3 loss in Minnesota on June the 12th. Went 5 innings in that game, 6 hits, a run, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. Then went back to AAA. Really struggled for a while, but has put it together in his last 7 starts. The scouting report on him, he's just not going to throw real hard. That's not his way of pitching. He just doesn't have a big-time fastball, but he relies on that cutter and slider, changeup, and he really needs good command to compete. When he has it, he pitches well. When he doesn't, he gets hit. And this ballpark has been a little bit of a problem for him, so this will be a good night for him to turn that around, pitch well here at Citizens Bank Park. And it's time now for a Nissan keys to tonight's game. Well, Tom said it in the opening. How about winning 3 in a row? Get a nice little winning streak going here since they've already won a couple. And Cloyd, well, see if he can continue that good run he had at AAA.
He'll face Dexter Fowler to start things off. Fowler was 0 for 4 with a walk and a run scored in yesterday's game. Yeah, the first pitch of the night runs outside, so we're underway. 1 ball and no strikes. That fastball came in at 85 miles an hour from Tyler Cloyd. Certainly is not going to overpower anyone, but he does have that cutter. That's his best pitch. And he throws a changeup there. It's 1 ball and 1 strike.
And these guys saw him here last year. Phillies had a rain out and then a split doubleheader the next day. He pitched the second game.
He went 4 innings that day, allowed 8 base hits. Struck out only 2.
That was on September the 9th.
Out of play, off to the left. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Dexter Fowler is 3 for 17 on this road trip for the Rockies. He's a switch hitter, batting left-handed, better right-handed than left-handed by about 70 points this year. And now the 2-2 pitch. He tries to run a 2-seamer back, and it doesn't come back low enough. It's 3-2. Cloyd this year for Lehigh Valley overall was 5-9 with a 4.89 earned run average. His last outing, he allowed 3 hits and a run, 7 strikeouts, tossed 116 pitches in a complete game. And there's ball 4. So Fowler draws a leadoff walk. Another big story going on down the shore in Lakewood, where the Lakewood Blue Claws will face the Hagerstown Suns. Biggest part of that story is that Roy Halladay is going to be pitching tonight for the Lakewood Blue Claws wearing number 44. That's a sharp-looking jersey.
You see J.P. Crawford in that lineup hitting second, talking about him with Benny Looper last night.
We'll keep you updated on what's happening tonight in Lakewood. And as LeMahieu bunts at himself there, it's 0-1.
Right, they would try to sacrifice. I don't know whether they're thinking about a run, getting an early run with De La Rosa on the mound, who's been a very good pitcher. But normally against a guy like Cloyd who gets hurt in this ballpark, and in a ballpark like this, you don't play for a run. It's not going to rain.
No balls, 1 strike. Ground ball left side. Rollins backhands in the hole, throws to second in time to get Fowler. That's a great play, and I'm surprised he didn't get there in time.
Got a slide. Goes in standing up. For what reason? The only reason he could have possibly done that is thinking that Jimmy Rollins was going to throw to first base, and he wouldn't throw to second, and he wouldn't be able to get him. And that's just not good base running there by Fowler. I don't know if he slides, if he's safe, but he sure as heck not going to be safe going in standing up. Oh, he has a heck of a chance to be safe if he slides. And right there, It was like all of a sudden he saw what was happening and he went into a little stutter step like he was going to try and slide. He's too close to the bag. You're going to get hurt. So he goes in standing up. Mistake.
And Rollins put a lot on that throw, so it was the only play he could get. So 1 out, runner at first. Troy Tulowitzki, the hitter.
Fowler talking about right now on what happened with him near second base, because he knows that he should not be out the way he can run.
Almost looked like he was saying just that to Dante Bichette, that he was too close to the bag.
He was to slide at that time. That's why you have to slide a lot earlier.
On the outside corner, 0-2 to Tulowitzki.
See a runner go to a little stutter step like that, like he was doing near the bag. That's when he's starting to think about his slide, but way too close.
Oh, break for the Phillies. There is a base runner for Tulowitzki. It's no balls and 2 strikes. Just underway on a comfortable night. Inside, 1-2. Tulowitzki overall 21 home runs, 66 runs batted in. He's had a good road trip for the Rockies, and he hits that one deep. Is it fair or foul? It is a fair ball, long home run, and the Rockies are on top 2-0. That ball bounced into the lower level of HK's. Harry the K's. So 2-0 Rockies.
You try to push him away with a fastball and then come back with another one. And talked about Cloyd has to keep the ball out of the middle of the plate. When you're only throwing 84, 85 mile an hour with your fastball, you can really get hurt. And look where that thing comes. It runs right back into the middle of the plate. Tulowitzki, it's hard to put more of a barrel on a ball than that guy just did.
Just never had a chance to go foul. It was hit so hard
and high.
Well, for Tulowitzki, 22 home runs, 68 runs batted in. It's his second home run of the series. So the Phils will play from behind. They trail at 2-0. And Michael Kadyr's the batter, and he takes off the outside corner. 1 ball, no strikes. Two and 0. Kadir last night was 1 for 3 with a walk and a run scored. Rockies' damage was done from the 7th inning on.
Well, that guy is so strong. Been hurt so much over the last few years. Just wonder his numbers in a full season, especially playing in Denver.
Out toward right center field. Long run for Mayberry. It slices away from him. And it's going to be a 1 hop off the top of the wall. And Kadir is going to pull into second with his 24th double of the year. Obviously, this is not the start that Tyler Cloyd was hoping for. Got to minimize the damage, though, here in the first.
That's a slider or cutter. And that was, you see, kind of just spinning up there right in the middle of the plate. And Kadir hits the ball really hard to right center field. That guy's just a good hitter. He uses the whole park.
It'll bring Todd Helton to the plate. Helton 8 home runs, 40 runs batted in. You see his career numbers against the Phillies. 1 for 4 last night with a ground rule double. Ground ball right side. Michael Young. Nice play. Flips underhand to Cloyd. And there are 2 outs. Helton does not run all that well, but if that ball had gotten by Young, I don't know if they would have gotten Todd Helton, even though Utley was there.
Would have been a tough play, that's for sure, if he gets by him. The advantage there was not having a runner at first, that you had to hold on, and Michael Young's able to play off the bag. And when Helton hits it, he's off the bag by a lot on that pull side. He's able to go get it, and Helton doesn't run all that well now. And Cloyd covers. They spent a lot of time on that drill today. He wasn't involved, of course, as a starter, but the old get over there.
Oh, here's Willeen Rosario. Rosario last night was 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs. It was his base hit as that ball goes off the glove of Ruiz, and Kadire scores to make it 3-0. He scored that a wild pitch. Said it was Rosario's base hit last night that made it a 1-run game. Things got kind of tight for Ryan Sandberg and the Phils. Well, now the Rockies have jumped out to a 3-run lead.
You see how much he missed his spot by. Ruiz is set up inside, and that's really hard play when it's a fastball. It's a breaking ball they anticipate, and they can drop down. When it's a fastball, it's going to eat them alive a lot of times when you miss your spot by that much, and that's what happened there.
1 ball, 1 strike to Rosario. So 3 runs here in the first and 20 pitches for Tyler Cloyd. And now the pitch. At the knees, 1-2. Swing and a miss. He got it with a changeup, and Rosario is struck out. The side is retired. However, Troy Tulowitzki's strength has helped the Rockies to a 3-0 lead. So the Phils will bat for the first time, down 3 at Citizens Bank Park. Time. Let's take a look at their lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Leading it off at shortstop, Jimmy Rollins. Carlos Ruiz will bat second. Chase Utley hits third, followed by Dominic Brown and Michael Young. Darren Ruff is in right field. He'll bat sixth. Cody Ashe seventh. John Mayberry will hit eighth. He'll play center field. And batting ninth at pitching is Tyler Cloyd. And they'll face 32-year-old left-hander Jorge De La Rosa. He's got 12 wins this year, and the Rockies are debating on whether they're going to pick up his option for 2014, which would be an $11 million option. In this day and age, that may not be a bad option to pick up.
Yeah, and if they don't, somebody else will take this guy because he has good stuff. He had the Tommy John surgery, missed parts of 2 years in 11 and 12. But when he has come back this year, come back with a vengeance, pitched pretty well. You get more hits per innings pitch when you pitch for the Rockies. You really don't look at it when you pitch in that ballpark of theirs. He has a really good changeup off his fastball, and his career against the Phillies, you see, is 0-4, and has been hit pretty hard in this ballpark. Although the last time that he pitched here, they beat him with a run in the 8th inning. He only gave up 2 runs. They beat him with a sacrifice fly by Jimmy Rollins.
Yeah, it wound up being a complete game loss for Jorge De La Rosa. That was on the 18th of May in 2011.
Cole Hamels beat him 2-1. Ryan Madson got the save in that game.
Well, De La Rosa's ready to go. So is Jimmy Rollins. Rollins 0 for his last 13.
Last time out, he threw a majority of fastballs and changeups in his last start. .38% fastballs and 42% changeups. Won that game against San Diego.
Ground ball to shortstop, Tulowitzki. One away here in the first. Going to bring Carlos Ruiz to the plate. Ruiz making his 4th ever start as the number 2 batter in the Phillies lineup. 2 for 4 in yesterday's game with a double and a home run. Good numbers against Jorge De La Rosa. Ryan Sandberg figured, why not? Let's ride the hot hand and keep him in the 2-hole.
Hey, he likes some of the things he can potentially do in the 2-hole with his opposite field swing.
Swing to the first pitch. That one's down the right field line. That's a long run for everyone involved. And it just drops. Oh, Michael Cuddyer was trying to help out a fan, and the exchange just didn't work the first time.
Here's the home run Carlos hit last night, batting in that 2-hole. There's a sinker from Manship, was up a little bit, and he hit it out of the ballpark into the flowers over the first fence.
Lucky McDonald's Phillies home run jackpot contestant is Tara Rose, Philadelphia. Phillies hit a home run in tonight's ball game, and Tara will win $100.
Hit 2 last night.
John Mayberry hit the other one, a 3-run shot. Fastball outside, 1-1.
To try not to get in one of these games like they've had lately, where the pitcher gives up a bunch of runs early and the air goes out of the balloon, boom, and it's over. Long way to go in this one, even though this guy's been pitching pretty well.
Balls, 1 strike. Utley's on deck. In fact, the Phillies have back-to-back left-handers after Ruiz with Utley and Dominic Brown.
And they have some left-handers in the lineup. And left-handers are only hitting .213 off De La Rosa this year, and no home runs. That's really something when you pitch at Coors Field.
Well, his numbers are better at Coors Field than they are on the road. And there's pitch down low, ball 4.
And in day games, he's 6-0 with a 1.58 earned run average.
Yeah.
And obviously, this is not a day game, which could be a good thing.
Well, the career leaders for the Rockies in earned run average. Jorge De La Rosa finds himself 5th. We'll take a look at our Mazda leaders. Brian Fuentes. Pretty good relief pitcher for a good period of time. Ubaldo Jimenez is a 9-game winner for the Cleveland Indians this season. Utley takes a strike on the first pitch fastball. It's 0-1.
You can run on this guy if they can figure it out. His times are not good. In fact, he goes as high as 176 probably when he takes a full big leg kick. 13 out of 23. So there have been a lot of attempts against him. He does use a slide step. Now, Ruiz is not the kind of guy who's going to run on him to steal a bag.
Element of surprise, Wheels. Element of surprise.
That would be a real surprise down by 3. See, he's kind of a long armor at times when he's out of the stretch, and that's how you can see you can run on him, or at least they would try to run on him, as they have a lot of times. Not bad.
1 ball, 1 strike to Utley. Utley is 3 for 8 lifetime against De La Rosa. And that one's off the end of the bat out toward right field. Michael Cuddyer stands and waits. 2 outs. And Ruiz goes back to first. Dominic Brown has reached base safely in 13 consecutive ball games. He was 1 for 4 last night with a run scored. His batting average has been solid here in the month of August. Playing amongst a bunch of teammates who have really struggled offensively in the month of August. That pitch is down and away. 1 ball and no strikes.
Come out throwing some sliders now. The first 2 left-handed batters he's faced got Utley to just swing at a slider. He pulled off a little bit, hit off the end of the bat. and just started Brown with one. Comes another one.
That one got more of the plate than he probably would have liked. It's 1 ball and 1 strike.
Rosario has that white polish on his nails to make it easier for the pitcher to see. And you can really see him put down a 3 for him on there, and that's going to be for slider. And fastball in.
Out toward left center field, Dexter Fowler will settle under it, and the side is retired. So the Phillies get a 1-out walk by Carlos Ruiz. He's left over at first. We go to the second with the Rockies leading it. Fans coming to Citizens Bank Park will receive the Cole Hamels bobble figurine. It's brought to you by Pico. Thursday's the 7:05 first pitch. Order your tickets at Phillies.com. Diamondbacks come into town this weekend after the Rockies. Nolan Arenado will lead it off for Colorado. He was 0 for 3 with a walk last night, and he takes a breaking ball for a strike. It's 0-1. Arenado was a big point of controversy in last night's ball game, and it's kind of carried over to today. He was up at the plate with runners on first and second when Jake Diekman was called for a balk with 2 outs in the inning. Now it moved runners to second and third. The Phillies were up by 1 at the time, and it got a little tense, but Diekman was able to rear back and was able to get the strikeout. This is what happened. Watch as Diekman looks in. Arenado asks for time. It's not granted. He nearly steps out of the box. Diekman stops, and Jim Joyce calls a balk. Now, in theory, Diekman should have just kept on going toward the plates. And Rule 6.02 talks about that particular play, a play which Jim Joyce, the crew chief of this umpiring crew, admitted today after talking to Randy Marsh, who was in charge of the umpires, who's here in town, admitted today that in the spirit of the rule, he made the wrong call.
Yeah, and the spirit of the rule meaning all of a sudden someone may use that as an offensive weapon in a tight game with a runner at third, fake that, get a balk out of it, win the ball game.
That ball is lined toward the alley in right center field, and it's going to split the gap, go to the wall. Blackman is on his way to second. He'll stop there. It'll be a 1-out double.
So the idea is to put a stop to that as soon as possible. Thankfully, that was not a situation where there was a runner at third base and a run scored on it, or it would have been a whole different thing.
Yeah, Rule 6.02, Section B reads, if a pitcher delays once the batter is in the box and the umpire feels the delay is not justified, he may allow the batter to step out of the box momentarily. if after the pitcher starts his windup, which is what Diekman did, or comes to a set position with a runner on, and there were 2 runners on, he does not go through with his pitch because the batter has stepped out of the box, it shall not be called a balk. Now, Arenado did not step out of the box, but Randy Marsh told me tonight that in essence they have to look at that play as if he did step out of the box. And that's what Jim Joyce confirmed today when he was talking to Todd Zolecki from Phillies.com.
Yeah, and it's just to set a future precedent that all of a sudden a team doesn't try to do that and pick up a run that way, because that is your point about the spirit of the game.
You take a look one more time. You see Arenado never steps out of the box, but steps away from the plate.
Well, he tried to get time, and he didn't get it. So now his first reaction was, all right, he could tell he didn't get time. The pitcher's going to deliver the ball. So watch. He didn't get time. He's going to jump back in and get ready in case he throws it. It was just and Carlos Ruiz had kind of given up on the whole thing, too. It was just a comedy, not a comedy, but it was just a whole group of things that went wrong in that. And he never steps out of the box.
But in the spirit of the game,
right,
they're looking at it as if he did step out of the box.
Right, even though he did.
Now, the rules sometimes are ambiguous, and sometimes they're open to interpretation. In this case, Jim Joyce, I think, felt like he should have interpreted it that Arenado, although didn't step out of the box, it was like stepping out of the box. And Randy Marsh told me today that it's one of those rules that they're going to present to the owners in the offseason, Players Association, about changing it, the wording of it, so it doesn't happen again. 1 ball, 1 strike to Dexter Fowler with 2 outs and a runner at third. Fowler takes a strike. Murph, what did Jake Diekman think one day later?
Well, I just had a chance to talk with him right before he went out into the bullpen, and I obviously asked him about that. He had a night to think about it. You know, you watch that video. He says that he was on the mound and became set. He was taking a look back with his peripheral vision at the runner at second, and then he began the pitch motion and saw all the activity happening at home plate, and he just stopped. He said that is a mistake on his part. He said, I have to continue and throw that pitch unless I know for sure that there's been a timeout called. So he realizes that, you know, in the grand scheme of things, perhaps it was the wrong call, but from his perspective, it was a learning moment for him, because he says, I've got to throw that pitch no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, by rule, I think Jim Joyce made the right call, but I understand what he's saying, that, you know, he didn't step out of the box but was heading out of the box as that ball was grounded through the right side, a base hit.
I think it was a learning, teaching moment for a lot of people, as it turns out.
Blackman scores an RBI single for Fowler, and it's now 4-0 Rockies.
Somebody say today, well, why didn't you just throw it up on the screen like you see them do? Well, there were runners on base, and that's a wild pitch there.
Right. And they can advance, but it's not a dead ball.
Right.
Well, now DJ LeMahieu with a run in. One pitch is lined toward left center field. That's in for another base hit. Mayberry will get to it, but Fowler's on his way to third. Throw goes to second, and now we'll put runners on first and third with 2 outs. And it's very obvious that Tyler Cloyd is not fooling anybody here tonight, as the Rockies have picked up 5 hits, 3 in this inning, 2 in the last inning. All 5 have been hit relatively hard.
Well, Ryan Sandberg just looking on right now, and he knows this guy. He's had him before, and he realizes when this sort of stuff's happening that it's a problem. But he's not missing any barrels.
And that'll bring Tulowitzki to the plate. He homered his last time. 2-run shot.
Yeah, this is a little scary situation right now. It's already 4-0 with this guy up, 2 men on base. Really need an out big time.
On the inside, off the inside corner, excuse me. Here's the home run.
Here's the home run. You see where it was supposed to be? Away. And what did it do? It ran right back over the middle of the plate, and that guy is mule strong, and he hit a long one.
in the dirt. Ruiz blocks it. 2 balls and 1 strike. Problem is, too, is if you kind of work around Tulowitzki here, you've got a very good hitter in Michael Kadire on deck.
Yeah, there's nowhere to go. There you can see the difference in the wild pitch from the first inning to that pitch right there. You talk about a catcher calls a breaking ball. They anticipate it down. They're able to get down and block it or have a chance to. With a fastball, when you miss your spot by a lot, it's really hard for a catcher to get to it because you're not anticipating it down in the dirt.
Chopper to third. Big hop for Kobayashi. And the side is retired. One more run crosses the plate for the Rockies. They get 3 base hits. Middle of the second. Phillies down by 4. Michael Young will lead it off when we return. Phillies.com. Go to the fan section for all the information. And Wheels, please spin your answer on the subject line. The question is, who is the only Rockies player ever to record an unassisted triple play? Now that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Unless you were there.
Right. We weren't.
No. Just trying to help you jog your memory.
Yeah, I remember those. Seen a couple of them.
Bottom of the second, Michael Young will lead it off. Michael Young, Darren Ruff, Kobayashi. Michael out the last couple of days with some soreness in his Achilles. Asked him how he was doing yesterday. He said, I'm as good as new. Ready to go.
He's not a complainer. Well, if they try and peck away at this guy a little bit and not get it all back, try to get it all back at once. That's always a tough way to try and play, and then hope your guy can settle down a little bit.
Big curveball that stays outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Michael Young, a .271 hitter, 0 for 2 against De La Rosa in his career. And that one's out towards second. 1 out. Be the first with breaking news in Philly sports. Get Philly sports when you're on the go, delivered right to your smartphone. Download the free CSN Sports app today. If you had that app, you'd probably be able to get updated on what's going on with Roy Halladay down in Lakewood and Jonathan Pettibone with Lehigh Valley. Doc is through 2 innings. He's allowed 4 hits and a run. No walks and 2 strikeouts. Darren Ruff takes a curve for a strike. Meanwhile, Jonathan Pettibone is in the 3rd. Lehigh Valley up 1-0 over Scranton. Backhanded by Tulowitzki. He hops and throws. Oh man, what an athletic play. And Darren Ruff is retired.
And you get the guy on the other end, just get it in the area and he'll catch it. See how Helton does that and makes it an effortless play. Tulowitzki, one of the best both ways. Tremendous offensive shortstop. And look at Helton. No big deal. He's really good over there and has been for a long time.
5 errors this year for Tulowitzki. He's got very good range and a well above average arm. Cody Ashe, the batter. And it's 0-1 to Ashe. Interesting, he's starting against a left-hander tonight. Outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Not like he hasn't played against left-handers before.
Well, they want to play him against some left-handers, but they didn't want to play him against Kershaw. Because there are some left-handers, and then there's Kershaw. But this guy's slider is really good tonight to these left-handed hitters so far. He keeps doing that. He's overmatching them.
Cody was 1 for 3 last night. His RBI came on a ground out with the bases loaded.
They could give him a fastball to hit here with a 4-run lead as opposed to throwing slider and maybe missing. Yeah, he gave him fastball away.
That one's hit towards center field. Dexter Fowler on the run. And he's there to make the catch. Side is retired. Phillies go down quietly in their half of the second. Just 23 pitches through the first 2 innings for Jorge De La Rosa. Michael Kadire, Todd Helton, and Willeen Rosario will lead it off for the Rockies against Tyler Cloyd. Juan Samuel joins us from down in the dugout. Sammy's moved from first base back over to the third base coach's box. Sammy, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
My pleasure, guys, always.
What are your thoughts right now from Tyler Cloyd? I mean, I know you're sitting and watching from the dugout his first couple innings.
Yes, he's those kind of pitcher that his location has to be good, has to be pinpoint, good location because the velocity is not there, and I think we seen proof of that earlier. Why they score those runs early.
Well, Kadire had a double his last time up. He hits one back to the box. Well, this will be 1 pitch and 1 away. So that's a good way to start the third.
There's no doubt. He needs to go in a good order, make some pitches, don't make mistakes. Cause they have some very good hitters over there. That is, you make mistake, they will make you pay.
Hey, Sammy, what's it like to get back in the third base coaching box? Because that's always a challenge in this ballpark.
I love it. I love it, Wheels. You know, I love challenge. I love trying to make a difference in the game and helping it in any way that I can. It's a little bit different at first base. There's not a whole lot going on there, but I love the action. You feel like you won the game at third.
I know you've been through a lot during your career. You've been a manager. You've watched a manager get let go where you've taken over in Baltimore. What's it been like the last week or so with the change with Ryan Sandberg taking over?
You know, it's an adjustment for all of us, he have a different philosophy than Charlie. He's got some things in mind that he wants to do. We have not had opportunity to do them yet because of score, but we're all aware that, hey, we need to continue to work and evaluate these guys, especially the younger players getting a chance to play.
What do you like so far about some of the younger players, Sammy, like a Cody Ashley that you've seen over at third base?
Cody to me looked like he belonged. He don't. You look at him in the face and he got that confidence on him. He don't look, kind of nervous in any situation. He looked like he belonged, and he's going to be a good player.
Hey, Sammy, will you come back and coach third base? I know third base coaches like their own signs to use. What happened with that as far as what you were doing and what Rhino was doing?
To make it easier on the players, I'm keeping the same sign as Rhino. I had to make some adjustments. And mine are different, so I have to read him almost every day so I could memorize those. But, with 6 weeks left, I don't want to change anything. We don't have a whole lot of time left, so guys are comfortable using these, so I stay with them.
Waleed Rosario hits one out towards center field. John Mayberry on the run, and that one is gone. Into the bushes, a 2-out home run. 18 for Rosario. And it's now a 5-0 ball game with the Rockies on top. It's their second home run of the game. Well, that's what you're talking about, Sammy. That was a pitch that was left up in the zone, and Rosario was able to hit it pretty good.
There's no doubt, and those guys are good fastball hitters. You have to keep the ball down, in and out, kind of keep him guessing. And if he pitches it off, that's what you see happen, because the velocity is not there.
Yeah, and that Rosario, he comes off the bench swinging at that first pitch.
He's Dominican. That's what we do.
I was just going to say, como too.
We're Dominican. I have not seen a Dominican play that, taking a fastball for straight.
What did you used to say? We don't come walking off that island. We come off swinging.
You got to swing your way out of that island.
Well, here's Nolan Arenado, and he fouls it off to the right. Juan, what have you seen from Darren Ruff making the transition from left field, first base to left field, back to over to right field?
Is easier than what I thought it was going to be. He hasn't played right field much. We basically had him out there the day that he was playing, hit him about 40 baseballs and go get it. I thought, hey, there's an opportunity, it's a chance. What can we lose? Go get it. And so far, he's doing a great job out there.
Sammy, we appreciate it as always. Go get him at third base, all right?
Thank you, guys.
All right, Juan Samuel, our guest up here in the booth, and down on the field. We'll go to the bottom of the third. Phillies have some work to do. Nationwide clearance event is going on now. Toyota, let's go places. By Xfinity, the official HD triple play provider of your Phillies. And by Mazda, we believe if it's not worth driving, it's not worth building. Now the Phillies are down 5-0. They've got to find a little offense here against Jorge De La Rosa. They've got the bottom of the order due up. John Mayberry, Tyler Cloyd, and then the top of the order. Mayberry hit a 3-run home run last night. 4 for his last 32, even with that home run. Mentioned how good Dominic Brown is doing in the month of August. This is one of the big bright spots for Mayberry in the month of August.
He got a changeup last night, something off speed, and hit it out of the ballpark. It was a big hit for the Phillies and for John. It gave him a 4-0 lead at that point. They were going to need all those runs.
Out toward left center field. It's a little bloop, and that's going to drop for a hit. It's the first hit of the night for the Phillies. Only the second base runner. They'll take it to start the third.
Yeah, and you hate to give up an out and bunt down by 5 runs, but the pitcher's coming up who's going to stay in the game, and you almost think they would to stay out of a potential double play and get a runner in scoring position, maybe get a run and just start to feel a little bit better about things.
On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, the Braves and the Mets are facing off at Citi Field. The Mets have taken a 1-0 lead. Mike Davis has an RBI in that ball game. Floyd does show bunt. Pitch is low.
Sorry, I thought he had himself a strike there. Either he bunted at it or it should have been called.
Plate umpire is Jeff Nelson.
He wanted everybody to know it was 1-0 and not 0-1, the way he put that digit out there.
1 ball and 1 strike.
There's Juan Salmo going through those signs we were just talking about. Third base coaches, that's why I ask them, they love to have their own signs because they're comfortable. And just the rhythm that they have and where they touch and everything. But that was a great answer about, well, they didn't want to destroy or change anything because they were used to them.
Excellent sacrifice bunt by Cloyd. 3-4. 1 out. Rollins coming up. Rollins grounded out his first time up. He grounded his shortstop.
That's where they need a hit. Just something to get on the board and stop this scoring, or to get on the board to get their own scoring started after all this scoring by the Rockies.
In the dirt, 1-0. Mentioned last night, you've got to be on your toes with Rosario. 40 wild pitches. 9 pass balls, 8 errors.
And De La Rosa's shown he likes to throw some pitches in the dirt, too.
I guess just by the use of his curveball, his breaking pitches, he would be that way.
Right, and his changeup, too, dives a little bit. More like it looks a little bit like a split when he throws it. So he's going to be a guy that has a chance to bounce one. But you don't take any chances here when you're down 5-0. If it bounces, it's got to bounce far enough away.
Out of play, 2-1. Listening to Rollins talk yesterday about how much he's fighting his slump this year, how he's trying to tinker, how he's trying to make different adjustments as the year goes on. And Ryan Sandberg said he's picked up a lot of bad habits along the way that they're trying to break him of, and it's not going to happen overnight. Two balls and 2 strikes. Outside 3-2. Ruiz on deck.
It's interesting there. They faded a changeup on him like that with a 2-2 count and a 5-run lead here at the top of the order too. And now you know you're a hitter. You think you're going to get a fastball.
Home plate umpire and Willeen Rosario are saying something to someone behind home plate. They must be doing something to distract Jorge De La Rosa. Foul ball.
Looked like he threw him another off-speed pitch there.
Three-two pitch. Up high, ball 4. So the Phillies have 2 on with 1 out. Here in the third, Carlos Ruiz will get a chance to bat. Well, this weekend the Phillies will welcome in the Arizona Diamondbacks, who at one time were the first place team in the National League West. Now they find themselves 7.5 games back of the Los Angeles Dodgers. A 3-game series. It begins on Friday evening. It's Total 1990s Retro Night. Fans 14 and under receive the John Kruk action figurine. There it is right there with the Total logo on the base. On Sunday the 25th, the 1:35 first pitch. It's the ShopRite Back to School backpack. Free to fans 14 and under. You can purchase tickets by coming to the ballpark, calling the box office, or as always going to Phillies.com. A change up to Ruiz. It's 0-1.
Well, he threw a lot of those changeups tonight. These right-handed hitters we mentioned last time out, he threw a higher percentage of changeups than fastballs. Must have faced a lineup with a lot of right-handed hitters. Throwing the slider to the left-handed hitters.
Rollins at first, Mayberry at second. De La Rosa almost looks like he's talking to himself out there because he's gotten a little bit of trouble with his command in this inning.
Right, with a big lead. In this ballpark, you certainly don't want to walk people, and like the same thing in his park. Base runners are really, really important in Denver where the ball flies like it does.
To the right side, under the glove of Helton into shallow right field. Mayberry's coming home. Rollins going to third, and the Phillies are on the board.
Wow, you don't see that error by Todd Helton. He was trying to catch that thing and think about just throwing over to first base, it looked like, for his pitcher covering, and he must have peeked and went right under his glove, or he touched it a little bit.
Did we see that from him? Was it last year or even earlier this season at first base?
Yeah. Here it comes. And his only play is going to probably be to first. I don't think he's even thinking about second on that with a big lead. And he just doesn't catch it. He peeks a little bit. Amazing. You see such a great player as he's been over the years, and that's a huge break for the Phillies.
I have that as his first error of the season.
Yeah, that play was last year that you were talking about.
First error of the year for Todd Helton.
Yeah. He's still really good.
The third week of August, it's his first error.
Think how many he saved down there, too, for his infielders. Took it off to the side, too. You know, that annoys him, of course, that he's taking it off to the side, and when it clanks off the glove, there's nothing to block it. But I think he thought that was such an easy play for him that you just go pick it and get the play at first.
A 1 pitch to Utley. Back behind home plate.
The only thing I think that he did there was take a peek to see where De La Rosa was on that, to see how he was going to lead him.
He's still mad.
Oh, doesn't do that.
His last error was June 20th of last year.
Wow.
In the dirt, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Boy, that's going to be a wild pitch. We keep talking about all the wild pitches these guys have, and that had one written all over it. Chase Utley, really, the way they're pitching him right now can almost eliminate the middle of the plate and in. I mean, middle in, because everything is away to him, and they're shaded him that way. And Fowler is really shallow in center field. So you look out there, you almost think as a hitter, they're going to pitch me away if they're going to play me with this kind of defense.
So much goes into this game that you don't really realize. And he pulls that one over the head of Helton into right field. Rollins will score. Ruiz on his way to third. An RBI single, 5-2. The Phillies have whittled this lead to 3.
And when you're a hitter like Chase Utley, you can do those kind of things, and then you can guard against a fastball in like that and maybe do something with it. And he fought that one off. He didn't hit it hard, but he fought it off. And that's a big-time hit for him right there to drive it around. Watch, they're going to go away, and De La Rosa misses his spot tremendously, and it's up and in a little bit. And he just gets on top of it, floats it into the outfield for a base hit and good base running by Ruiz. Or, I mean, you got Ruiz over at third base on that. Oh, that's right. This is the error, remember?
I forgot all about this
one. That's right.
One.
He misses the bag. Right. And that was the last error he made?
Yeah, you know what? I think last year or earlier in this series, there was a ball hit. That's right. There was a ball hit in Colorado as Utley draws a throw, which we thought should have been an error. It went right past him, and they scored a base hit.
Right.
That was the last error last year.
And
that won the game.
Won the game for the Phillies. That was a walk-off error, because that was going to be the third out.
And I said Pittsburgh was the last error. It was here in Philadelphia. I apologize, Carl. I didn't look at your handwriting properly. It was my fault. That is an H, not an I.
Really need to get another one now. Dominic Brown can get a ball in the air and get that runner in from third base, because they're gift wrapped and you get a chance to get back into this one. Boy, he's missing spots in this inning. See how his command's way off. It's already up to 47 with 24 in this inning.
1 ball, 1 strike to Brown. A liner to center field. Ruiz goes back to third to tag. He's coming home. The throw to the plate is up the line, and the Phillies get another run. Utley goes to second. It's a 5-3 ball game.
Well, Juan Samuel talking about having to be back at third and gambling a little bit. He gambled on that one, and they won. Good job by Ruiz to get back and tag. Not a fast runner. They challenged Fowler's arm, and he made a very poor throw off line that had a tail on it. And then Chase Utley, of course, moves up. Here it is right here. Here comes Fowler. This is a ball where you should make a strong throw. But watch what it does. He throws a tailer right there, and well, he doesn't even catch it. Ruiz scores as the ball gets away. The throw right there where your outfielder's coming in should get on top of it and not be able to not do that.
Now Michael Young
threw the old backdoor sinker right there.
Sure did.
That's huge to pick up another run. Now you're down to 2
with only 2 hits in the game.
Yeah, well, that error in this inning in the walk, they made him pay for it. And that's why they bunted Cloyd. even though we talked at the time, you hate to give up an out there, but the pitcher's staying in the game, and you don't want him swinging away there and hitting a double play and have 2 outs and nobody on base with the top of the order coming up. So they bunt, and that's part of what's been the success of this inning.
Michael Young grounded out to second, his only time up.
Fowler on the arms listed as average, and that's another reason why they ran on him.
Interesting how that's changed over the last year or so. No, ball 2. They appeal. No swing, says Jim Wolf.
Well, no matter what, they've caught up and they've helped catch up in this inning. And they also have De La Rosa with a lot of pitches where his looked like maybe he was going to have an easy night tonight. Not to be.
Now the 2-1 pitch coming to Michael Young. Maybe not.
It's one of those, why you worry about it? He probably wants another pitch more than anything, because they're not even going to cover the bag right there. They don't care about Utley with 2 outs. They're just trying to protect as much ground as they can in the infield.
Dirt. Rosario's throw to first is in time. The side is retired. The putout goes 2-3. Todd Helton's error allows the Phillies to score a couple of extra runs here in the 3rd. This was it off the bat of Carlos Ruiz. Phillies scored 3. One of those runs was earned. We'll go to the 4th. On the field, WB Mason has the bases covered in the break room with an all-star selection of food and beverage products. WB Mason will satisfy all your cravings. Phillies got 3 back as we go to the 4th, Sarge. Now they need Tyler Cloyd to figure out how to settle in here.
Yep. Got to get that ball down. Quality strikes. Keep it out of the middle of the plate.
Blackman doubled and scored his last time up.
Oh, they're not throwing very hard there for the fastball. A lot of hitters are able to wait back a little bit longer. Two good pitches. Just want to get into a groove, throwing ground balls. Gets into trouble though if he's going to have the hitters elevate the ball. Oh, he's right out. I don't even know what he was looking for.
Well, he picks up his second strikeout as he gets Blackman looking, and now he can deal with the pitcher with one out here in the fourth.
He literally took 3 pitches right down the middle.
He sure did. I think everybody's thankful he did, Sarge. De La Rosa grounded out to Tyler Cloyd his first time. Just off the outside corner, 1-0.
He's not going to throw very hard, but again, he has to move that ball around. Use that off-speed pitch at times.
Just a little low. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Back toward the middle, slowly hit over the bag. Rollins is there and just in time. He took a long time running up the first base line.
Boy, he sure did. And good thing though that ball did not hit the bag. Second base bag went right over the bag. Usually from that left side. Well, pitcher running though, but take a look at it. That ball skips right over the bag there. If it hits that bag, he may have had a base hit because it's going to slow it up and usually propel it in the air.
Well, a little bit of a break for Tyler Cloyd, and with 2 outs, here's Dexter Fowler.
Yeah, you like that, making the pitcher run like that.
Fowler's been up twice so far. He's walked and he has singled. No balls and 1 strike as he fouls it back.
That 86 that he throws, you got to make sure it is in the spot. You see how he tied him up there? When you're throwing 85, 86, you have to get the ball in that area.
Ball may have gotten Jeff Nelson off the foul. Well, we've seen, at times Tyler Cloyd has been able to pitch here in the big leagues, but he does walk a fine line.
Yep.
And a called strike 3. That was the fastest fastball he's thrown tonight at 89 miles an hour. He picks up a couple of strikeouts in the inning. 1, 2, 3 go the Rockies. Nice job after the Phillies got 3. Let's see if they can get some more. Championship. Visit a time you experience good banking and buy Chevrolet. Visit your local dealer at ChevyDealer.com. Home half of the fourth inning, 5-3 Rockies. Phillies will have Darren Ruff, Cody Ashe, and John Mayberry to bat against Jorge De La Rosa. I think they have him on the ropes a little bit here, Sarge. What do you think?
We'll see this inning. I mean, that's how you always tell. Once a pitcher kind of loses his groove, so to speak, you can always tell that next inning on location of pitches, whether or not they're up in the zone. And hopefully, too, though, the fight Phillies are having some confidence that they'll be able to handle them after scoring 3 runs. Good job, too, by Cloyd with that shutdown inning.
Well, Darren Ruff is grounded out to shortstop. It is only at bat. Darren has only 13 RBIs in the month or so that he's been up in the big leagues.
Yep.
And is hitting .268, but his 8 home runs, coupled with his 15 extra base hits, lead the Phillies since his arrival.
Well, one thing he has to do, though, he's got to drive in more runs. Scoring 21 is not bad. Should be maybe that opposite way around. But again, he's just kind of regaining his confidence as a hitter up here on the major league level. I think before in spring training had more of a panic type of swing, kind of pressing a little bit.
Low, 2-2.
But it takes time to be an accomplished major league hitter. That's why it's very important to see as many pitches as you possibly can, each at bat.
Over to third. And Arenado throws out Ruff. 1 out. Cody Ashe's coming up. A lot going on as far as the Phils go with some of the injuries around their organization. For more on that, here's Murph.
All right, thanks a lot, Tom. Yeah, we'll get you caught up on 2 of the biggies. John Lannon was seen by the Phillies doctors yesterday, and the news not good. He has a ruptured tendon in that left knee that was causing him problems down in Atlanta. Surgery has been recommended. John Lannon going to get a second opinion on that and then make a decision based on what the 2 doctors say together. But right now, not looking good for John Lannon to be back this season. The news much better for Ryan Howard, who was here last night, is headed back down to Florida. He has been cleared for baseball activities, which means starting on Thursday, he's going to take some ground balls. He'll do some light jogging, and he'll also get in the batting cages and do some hitting as well. So he is making progress with that knee, doing much better. So the next step for Ryan Howard, those baseball activities, then all begins on Thursday, guys. And of course, we mentioned Roy Halladay earlier, and Jonathan Pettibone will have an update on both of their outings coming up a little bit later in the game, guys.
All right, Murph, we appreciate that. Doc is throwing in Lakewood. Meanwhile, Jonathan Pettibone is throwing up at Lehigh Valley against Scranton. John Mayberry's up with 2 outs here in the 4th inning. Mayberry singled his first time. He got the first hit for the Phillies. Off-speed pitch, 0-1.
Actually talking with him today, Tom, he realizes the things that he needs to do. I actually talked with him about whether or not he was seeing the ball or afraid of that ball from the right-handed side. And he said no.
From a right-handed pitcher?
From a right-handed pitcher. He swings pretty good when it's a left-hander, or at least has better swings. But he knows he needs to have a better balance. He had great balance on the home run that he hit, which was a change-up out over the plate. Needs to be able to attack that ball on the outside part of the plate a little bit more. You know, he's a good athlete, strong guy, but you got to have that heart to play every single day. You know, John doesn't get as angry as most players when things don't go well for him. But that's just that's his makeup.
Fouls it back. It's 2-2.
That pitch very hittable, just a little bit late in getting back on the trigger. Once you get back, you got to you want to hit that ball out in front. Sometimes John lets the ball get a little bit too deep. And once it gets deep, hard to get the barrel on the ball.
In the dirt, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Just got to make sure he gets those off-speed pitches up some. Especially the slider, needs it up in the zone. Whether or not it's from the left or right-handed pitcher.
Left side, Arenado. Quick release, easy inning for De La Rosa. Phillies go down in order. We've completed 4. We go to the 5th. Watch out as the night moves on. Citizens Bank Park. Some of the music being played before the ball game. A little baseball flair. Chasing Dreams. The American Jewish History. The National Museum of American Jewish History. Presenting that banner. Some of the folks who are here at the ballpark tonight. Hope everybody's enjoying themselves as the Phillies and the Rockies are playing into the top of the 5th inning in a 5-3 game. DJ LeMahieu takes a strike. It's 0-1. Ball and 1 strike. Well, hopefully Cloyd is settled in here to give the offense some more time. He's thrown 63 pitches. His best inning was the 4th when he retired the side in order. He's got some movement now and some of that breaking stuff. That was the curveball, not the cutter.
Yeah, he wants early strike so that they can swing at pitches that would be out of the zone. He gets into trouble, like in most pitchers, you fall behind, and Lloyd's got to come in with that fastball.
Foul tip and 1 away. That's 3 strikeouts, or 4 strikeouts, 3 in the last 2 innings. If you're 30 years old or older, here's your chance of a lifetime from January 22nd to the 26th of next year in Clearwater, Florida. You go to Phillies Fantasy Camp. You get a chance to practice with guys like John Kruk, Greg Luzinski, Larry Anderson, the commish. Will be there at the Carpenter Complex. You get a fantasy game versus the Legends at Bright House Field. Phillies uniform with your favorite number on it. Call 610-520-3400. Tommy Green.
Yeah.
Maybe get his number. Maybe get a chance to see Tommy there at Phillies Fantasy Camp.
And get a chance to actually face him that last day where the campers play against all the pros. I'd like to see you in one of those uniforms here, Tommy.
I got basketball, Sarge. Too much on the plate at that point.
Well, it's only for 3 or 4 days.
I did not see your name on the list.
Well, we want some of the other guys to have fun these days here, Tom.
And what if I would have said that?
It is really, it is a good time for sure.
Inside, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Larry Anderson, the commissioner and the judge. So right away, you know, everything is not always going to be the way it should.
Right, it's not on level.
That's right.
Yeah. Inside, 2 balls and 1 strike. That wasn't a bad spot right there on that pitch from Cloyd.
Yeah, with Tulowitzki, you want to tie him up.
Over to third.
Excellent pitch. You can tell that too. Off balance, Tulowitzki was on that swing. That's how you can tell Tyler Cloyd is really pitching and pitching well when you see the hitters that are off balance. Just the opposite. If they have their balance and driving the ball, you know that he's making mistakes with his pitches.
Here's Kadire. He's 1 for 2. He doubled and scored his first time. Takes a strike. It's 0-1. He's also picked up a few miles per hour in his fastball as this game's moved on.
Well, you know what, though, with the adrenaline again coming back to the major leagues, you can see that. McCoy, one of those pitchers that really needs, again, to keep that ball down. He needs ground balls. He can elevate the ball every now and then.
A little different than last night when Ethan Martin would elevate at 95 or 96.
Oof, big difference. You know, Martin would be able to get away with some pitches there at times when you're throwing that hard.
Now the 2-2 pitch. Cutter just missed low, 3-2.
Good pitch, however.
There's Ethan Martin, who went 6 1/3 last night, picked up the victory.
Yeah, he throws the ball extremely hard. Name of his game will be confidence. He has the stuff to pitch here in the major leagues. Has a good arm, good live fastball, so that becomes up to him to be able to work hard and be able to become a good pitcher.
Over toward the hole, backhanded by Rollins, long flip throw, not in time. Kadire got up the line pretty good, so he's got 2 hits. For years, StubHub has been the place to go to buy Phillies tickets. And this season, you can get more with your tickets thanks to StubHub Fan Rewards. So get to StubHub and grab your seats today. Todd Helton's 0 for 2. Tyler Cloyd has won in the minor leagues. We mentioned last year 15-1 combined between AA and AAA for his career. 53-31. Out towards center. John Mayberry makes the grab. Side is retired. Not a 1-2-3 inning, but a fairly easy 5th for Cloyd. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left to the bottom of the 5th with Cloyd set to lead it off. in Lakewood, and a look ahead at Game 3 between the Phillies and the Rockies. All that and much more on Phillies Sports Talk only on Comcast Sportsnet. Young lady enjoying a night out at Ashburnell. She's got some Chickies and Pete's crab fries. Got a little Fanatic doll there. As we go to the bottom of the 5th. By the way, big news today in Philly with Chip Kelly announcing that Michael Vick will be the starting quarterback for the Eagles. That'll be all part of that preview of the game against the Jaguars. Blaine Gabbert will be the starting quarterback for the Jaguars. Floyd shows bunt, takes strike one, 0-1. Floyd sacrificed his last time up. And now it's 0-2.
I always think it's a good idea that pitcher take that first strike the way that Floyd did, just to see whether or not that pitcher's up to throwing strikes. You can get the pitch count up by doing that.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Well, he's at 68 pitches now after that last one. Two and 2.
Like that, making him pitch.
That guy's going to hurt himself behind the plate, Sarge. The way he sprawls every which way for balls.
You know, and the thing is, you don't have to do that when you don't have the runners on. Sure, you want to be able to block it. But take a look at it as he sails all out on it. Well, he does keep it in front. They must have told him block every ball, whether or not anybody's on base or not.
It's almost like he rocks forward and then knocks himself off balance.
Trying to keep the ball in front.
Floyd lifts it to right. Kadire uses 2 hands for the first out. Tomorrow, the Phillies and the Rockies will gather here at Citizens Bank Park for Game 3 of their 4-game series, and all fans coming through the gates receive the Cole Hamels Bobble figurine. Compliments of Pico. Get your tickets by stopping by the box office or by going to Phillies.com 24/7. There's Cole. Pitched very well in his last outing.
Sure did.
Rollins is up with 1 out in the 5th.
Just appears that Jimmy Rollins looked a little bit uncomfortable there in that batter's box.
Why is that, Sarge? What's
difficult thing too when you lose your timing, you know. But it's really hard to say though with a switch hitter. You know, again though, you can tell just by the way that he's hitting the ball that he have obviously been struggling, popping the balls up. And when that happens, usually just not seeing the ball and not really trusting your hands to actually get to the ball. Almost trying to help it, if you will. Things are going well for you. You just sit back and you got slow feet. You can see it coming, know whether or not it's a strike just about when it leaves his hand. Just the opposite when you're not swinging right.
I think during the years, this is the longest stretch we've seen where Jimmy has not looked comfortable at the plate. Now, he's 0 for his last 14, but you go back to the fact he has 1 home run since the end of May. Even if you don't want to be a home run hitter, which Ryan Sandberg says he doesn't need to be,
no,
it's still a surprise.
His goal really would be to score 100 runs, but then you're dealing with a guy that a former MVP in Jimmy Rollins that have had some good years where he's hit the home run. So he's feeling, hey, I still have the power. Why aren't I hitting them? But from year to year, you don't always hit the same number of home runs simply because you're not always getting the same pitches.
Arenado over third. And he just gets Rollins for the second out. So 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th. And here comes Carlos Ruiz, who's been on base twice tonight, once with a walk and once with an error by the first baseman Todd Help.
I think Carlos is another one that's kind of forgotten just really how good a hitter he was last year. He has come into his own. Hitting in that 8th spot will make you patient enough.
Boy, Arenado's had a busy 2 innings over at third base. That's the 5th ball that he's had come his way in the last 2 innings. Phillies go down in order in their half of the 5th. 5 in the books. Rockies lead the Phillies 5-3. Continues to be Cole Hamels, who has turned it up several notches since the beginning of July. The Phillies left-hander, who struggled for results through his first 17 starts, has delivered a 2.05 ERA in his last 9 starts. In 8 of those 9 starts, Cole has pitched 7+ innings, allowing 2 earned runs or less. During the current month, Cole has allowed just 5 earned runs in 31 innings while walking just 2 batters. The lefty has been a much-needed pick-me-up to the rotation. And it's brought to you by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. On Jewish Heritage Night, the fanatic getting involved. He can dance to anything. And I think he showed it right there.
Yeah, you're right about that.
I don't know if it's the smoothest dance ever, but he's got his yarmulke on.
That's great. Really.
He just figured I'll just bounce up and down and see if I can blend in. Top of the 6th inning, Wilin Rosario will lead it off for the Rockies. Rosario hit a center field home run his last time up. And they appeal the first swing, and Jim Wolf says no swing.
He got on a high fastball. Boy, did he smash that ball straight away center field. Got to be strong to hit a ball like that.
Well, he's now hit in 11 consecutive games. Over to third. That's a foul ball.
Good action too, though, by Cody as he gets right down the line there. No, you can see he would have had it if it had been fair. He's got pretty good actions going left to right.
I think he has proven that he can be a major league third baseman defensively. You know, in the hitting part, he looks more and more comfortable at the plate. You figure his numbers will get better and better if given the opportunity. But defensively, I don't think there's any question he can play there.
Yeah, he looks good defensively. You know, that offense, however, both him and Darren Ruff, along with Mayberry, they're going to have to drive in more runs.
2-2 pitch. Hit foul over toward the right side.
You know, one of the reasons Rhino was talking about Jimmy Rollins, hey, think about scoring 100 runs, and he knows that he'd have a much, much better year. You know, to be able to score 100 runs, you got to be on quite a bit. And there's a guy there that would need to knock in maybe 100 runs in Darren Ruff.
Swing and a miss of the breaking ball. 5 strikeouts for Cloyd.
Or close to it.
And that'll bring Arenado to the plate.
See this breaking ball there. You see how he throws that ball up? Looked to me to be like a little slide piece, or maybe his curveball. Curveball goes down, and the slider will go to the side.
Ball and 1 strike to Arenado. Arenado is 0 for 2. He's grounded out, and he's also flied out.
Good thing is, though, the Fighting Fields, they've showed they can score some runs here of late.
Darren Ruff, a long run. And that ball is foul. Gave it a good effort. I don't know if anybody could have been able to come up with that one.
Now, difficult play, though, especially since, again, right-handed hitters hitting the ball, so it's going to go more toward the line and the stands with that spin on the ball. In order to catch it, you have to have a great jump and be quick on your feet, be a fast runner.
1-2 pitch. Inside, 2-2. Line drive just over the glove of Rollins into left center field. Mayberry gets to it quickly. Arenado's trying for 2. Here's the throw to second, and it's not in time. That'll be a double, the 21st of the year for Arenado.
Well, he got that double right from home plate. Solid contact as he hits a vicious line drive right past Jimmy Rollins. Once he makes that turn there, he's got everything in front of him. Take a look at it. Fastball comes right back into his swing. There's that line drive just over the outreach of J-Row. Here's that hustling there as he has that little pop-up slide, and he did beat it.
You have Blackman and then De La Rosa, so you can still see your way through this. Phillies bullpen still quiet. The Rockies bullpen quiet.
Okay, you don't get that double by looking at the ball or just taking it easy going to first base.
No, because it was only a split second in which he was safe. You know, if that ball had been hit a little closer to Mayberry, Mayberry got to it quickly. There was nothing he could do.
No, not at all. That's why it's so important that every time you're in the game to be able to hustle, always looking to take the extra base.
took a little off that pitch. It's 1-2. That was a changeup from Cloyd.
Anytime he can have movement on his pitches, it's great benefit to him, especially the ones that are soft. You can spot that fastball, even though he has the two-seamer that grounds. A lot of timeouts here the last few days in these games.
Some are more eventful than others. Out towards center field. That's not hit deep. Mayberry will make the catch. Tagging from second is Arenado. The throw will be cut off by Rollins. There are 2 outs. Now you got the pitcher coming up, so you can get your way through the 6th inning if you're Tyler Cloyd.
In a lot of cases, you need to really concentrate, especially in these situations where you work yourself to get the 2 outs. You know, you got a guy up that's not really used to hitting. You really need to concentrate and put these guys away. Not just here tonight, but throughout the career for any of the pitchers.
Okay, who knows what's going to happen in 5 days. Roy Halladay pitched tonight in Lakewood. I'll get you an update on that in a little bit. Jonathan Pettibone pitched tonight in Lehigh Valley. Will do the same. I don't think, and that could be wrong, I don't know if either one of them will be ready in 5 days. So you figure Floyd is going to get another chance.
You would think so.
Lannon, as Murph told us before, is out for the year. And he'll be going for a second opinion on an apparent tendon injury to his knee. No balls and 2 strikes. And that pitch just a little low.
Boy, what a great pitch, though. That's what he needs to do, though. Concentrate. If Nelson back at home plate almost flinched a little. As if it could have been a strike. Wow.
Just missing. Trying to get that cutter to come toward the outside part of the plate. Two-two pitch.
Pretty good pitch. You know, the one thing, though, he knows exactly what he's getting ready to get, which is a fastball. You're not going to want to mess around with anything else. Let's see what he throws.
He got it with a fastball. Went upstairs with it. 6 strikeouts for Tyler Cloyd. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left in scoring position. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning here at Citizens Bank Park. The Phillies trail the Rockies by 2. Chase Utley will lead it off. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Nissan at Nissan's Bottom Line Sales Event. Choose a better way to drive and save. Choose Nissan.com today. By Thomas Jefferson University Hospitals. Call 1-800-JEFF now for an appointment. And by McDonald's. I'm loving it. A beautiful night down at Center City. Same here at Citizens Bank Park, a few miles south. And the Phillies down by 2. As we go to the bottom half of the 6th, we'll have Chase Utley, Dominic Brown, and Michael Young, the scheduled hitters. While De La Rosa finishes up his warm-up tosses, let's bring in Murph. He's got an update on Jonathan Pettibone and Roy Halladay. Murph?
Certainly do. It's what we promised. And Roy Halladay tonight in Lakewood, guys. Went 6 innings, allowed 7 hits, 1 earned run. He walked 3 batters and struck out 4. He threw 90 pitches in the outing, 52 of them for strikes. And earlier in the night, Jim Salisbury of CSNPhilly.com, who is there, was reporting that he touched 89 early in the game, but average fastball about 87 for Roy Halladay. Jonathan Pettibone in the Lehigh Valley, also 6 innings, 10 hits for him, 3 earned runs. Didn't walk anybody, struck out 1 in that game as well. So that's the update on the 2 starters trying to make their way back to the big league guy.
All right, now the key for Halladay, they said, was command, trying to maintain command. There were different reports that said he was having trouble with his command early on, but he did go 6 innings. I think that's a good thing, showing the durability of the arm. Same with Pettibone, the fact that they went 6 innings, they got their work in. And as we always say, Doc will give a pretty honest assessment of his effort, as he normally does.
Yeah, well, he won't be happy with the 3 walks, that's for sure.
Chase Utley has the count even, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Yeah, and the velocity will come with just more games. So that's why they're not really, I would think, too concerned about that. The only thing they want him to do is to be able to pitch and not have any pain. If he doesn't have the pain, then he can really get back even quicker.
Utley fouls it back at 1-2. As we said, it's not without work. I mean, the guy works still harder than anybody, and it's actually pretty interesting to watch as he puts himself through the rigors of the everyday training, even off the mound, to try to keep himself physically in great shape, and he does.
Yeah.
Up the first base line, Helton flips to De La Rosa, and it's just in time. Well, that's the way you're supposed to do it, folks. I mean, that is just sheer hustle right there.
Well, he does it all the time there, too. De La Rosa getting over, that's what he's supposed to do. And you can see just barely getting it as Helton, I should say, leads him. You can see just barely getting him there on the inside part of the bag. That's why that pitcher has to run over there, and then he positions himself in a way to take that throw where he can actually hit that bag, and really you're supposed to kind of keep running, keep on going down the straight line. He's been giving you a lot of quality at bats as of late, and really, when you take a look at the way that Dominic is hitting against the left-handed pitchers, even though he's off balance there, he seems to have a healthy cut and being able to pick out the right pitch. That slider is a tough pitch on any of the lefties in that particular spot when he throws it, because De La Rosa he throws so hard.
Dominic's RBI tonight gave him 79 on the season, so 21 away from 100 for the year.
Would be one heck of an accomplishment for him to be able to get to that number.
Fouls the 2-2 back.
He throws that slider. It's got to be really at him in order for it to be a strike. Starts it over the heart of the plate. It should break away. And the other thing is he wants the ball to be up. That slider starts down low. You want to go on and just take it.
Check swing. Did he go? Yes, says Jim Joyce. And there are 2 outs.
Tough pitch.
Oh, this Sunday when the Phillies entertained the Arizona Diamondbacks in the last game of this homestand, all fans 14 and under get a great giveaway. It's brought to you by ShopRite. It's the back-to-school backpack. You can get tickets for that ball game by going to Phillies.com. In fact, you can get seats for all 3 games between the Phillies and the Arizona Diamondbacks by checking out the Phillies website. Michael Young is 0 for 2. He's grounded out and he's struck out. Out towards short on 1 hop. Tulowitzki just barely gets Michael Young. But the Phillies go down in order for the 3rd consecutive inning. That's 11 in a row set down by De La Rosa.
Well, time now for your local Honda dealers game summary. Phillies have been playing catch-up all night, trailed 5-0. Couple earlier home runs by Tulowitzki and Rosario. Jorge De La Rosa got hit for a 3 spot there by the Phils, helped out by an error by Todd Helton, a rare error by him. Chase Utley with an RBI hit. Tyler Cloyd settled down after that tough start and then pitched 3 scoreless innings. He will leave the ball game now after 5 earned runs on 8 hits.
Zach Miner will take over. 5th ball game for Miner in a Phillies uniform. 7 2/3 innings so far. Well, it's disappointing that the Phillies allowed 5 runs in the first 3 innings, but we got to give Tyler Cloyd credit. 3 scoreless, 4th, 5th, and 6th. He started getting his ball to move a little bit more. He had a little jump on his fastball, a little more jump on his fastball. De La Rosa's retired 11 in a row, and that's made it difficult to erase this 2-run deficit.
He's done a good job of sinking balls away from right-handed hitters, and they're playing Pepper with a 3rd baseman. And with a left-handed hitters, he keeps throwing sliders, which talked about that early in the game, that he seems to feel that that's the best way to get them out, and then to go away from the right-handed hitters. And if they keep trying to pull the ball, they're going to keep grounding out to Arenado.
Well, Dexter Fowler will lead it off for the Rockies. He has an RBI single tonight. Fowler overall hitting .265. Pulls that one through the hole on the right side. First pitch swinging. And the Rockies have the leadoff batter aboard. These lucky fans are tonight's Citizens 7. They will each receive a prize pack courtesy of Citizens Bank. Citizens Bank, the most 7-day branches in the Philadelphia area. To find a branch near you, visit citizensbank.com. DJ LeMahieu, is due up. LeMahieu was on base last night in the 9th inning with the Phillies up by 1. And they wound up picking him off at first base. After the game, he said it was his fault that he guessed wrong. He had the green light, but they wanted him to try to steal. And he got too jumpy. Now, Walt Weiss, his manager, accepted responsibility because he's the one that said you need to get on. If you get on, you need to move. Walt Weiss went over to talk to LeMahieu after the game to tell him that, but LeMahieu wasn't buying it. He still said it was his fault.
Which it was, because he got jumpy down there and got the bench's attention. They decided to throw over with 2 strikes and got him jumping the second time.
Runner goes. Pitches hit foul. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Talked to Mick about that tonight and Ryan Sandberg. And well, here it is. And they're thinking, okay, the ball's in the. Now, one of the things that they really gave credit to was Papelbon. After they gave him the throw over, they said, as a veteran pitcher that he is, he didn't just throw right over. He waited a little bit and let the guy get jumpy over there and then picked him off. But they also figured on a 2-strike count like that, they may be anticipating a ball in the dirt, and they decided they would throw over. And Rhino and Mick were talking about it and decided to do that, and it worked that time.
There's a foul ball, and it's 1-2.
That was real good communication down there. They were both talking about how in that situation what you do is you look at the runner. They said there's no reason to look at the pitcher because nothing's going to happen out there that concerns you. You look over there at the runner, see if he'll do something. But Roger Craig used to say they're all thieves over there and they give themselves away. I used to love that line.
Fowler has stolen 18 bases this year. It's a close pitch. 2-2. Toyota Major League Scoreboard. The Dodgers have taken the lead over the Marlins 4-3. Adrian Gonzalez has a double and an RBI. Chris Capuano pitching in that one for Los Angeles. Last night, Jose Fernandez, some people feel as Fowler goes, the pitch is hit foul. It remains 2-2. Some people think that Jose Fernandez last night may have assured himself the Rookie of the Year vote over Yasiel Puig when he beat the Dodgers. I still think it's Puig, but, you know, Fernandez has had a great year.
Tremendous young talent.
Puig in his last 9 games is hitting just 171. I wonder if part of it will depend on where the Dodgers finish in this regular season. They're coasting right now.
Somebody said he was late tonight and they didn't play him.
Yeah.
Here's a running count right now. Have more on that on the notebook, on Murph's notebook coming up later. It's another not a bad time to throw over too. Fowler's pretty experienced. He doesn't have a big lead. He's not running to steal the base here. He's running on the pitch.
There he goes. Pitches it to center. Mayberry will make that play. Utley was trying to deke him.
He tried. Fowler knew where it was, so I think he picked it up pretty quickly. Utley did the old flip down there, but he wasn't buying it.
Yeah, that'll bring Troy Tulowitzki to the plate. They've kept him in the yard the last 2 at-bats. They got him to ground out to third both times.
Utley's just out there listening about how they're gonna pitch him here. That'll determine between him and Jimmy what they want to do as far as covering. See, right away Utley goes out there and says something to Jimmy Rollins. I think with Tulowitzki, he's going to pull the ball.
Oh, absolutely.
But they like Utley. We give a throw over there. Utley, he's so good at coming in and getting information and then using it when he gets out to the middle of the diamond.
Also providing information.
Yeah.
There goes Fowler. Pitch is taken for a ball. The throw to second is in time. Good tag. That's a very good tag by Utley. Good throw, good tag, 2 outs. Walt Weiss will come out and argue that one.
Well, Fowler doesn't think he got him. It was such a good, quick tag by Chase. He may have gotten a call on that, and he may have gotten him too. But it's hard to believe he got it down that fast. And a good throw, as you said, Tom, by Carlos to give him a chance. Does he get him?
Yes, he does.
He did get him. It's a good call. Got him right on the back of the knee. And his hand is not on the bag, it would appear. Let's see what we can tell from this end. Oh, he hit his arm, hit his foot. Hit his foot and spun him out of there a little bit, and that slowed him up just enough so the tag, his hand doesn't get there. That's why infielders, they love those guys that slide head first because they're going to stick that leg down.
And he will stick that leg down.
Yeah, now, if they're sliding feet first, it's a little different.
Yeah, he may still stick that leg down there.
Right. And he's more likely to straddle the bag, too. But those head first guys, the infielder can stick the leg down. Pretty good call out there.
Mike Estabrook is the second base umpire, made that call. They called that pitch a ball on Tulowitzki. That was actually a pretty good looking pitch. It's 1 ball and no strikes to him. There's a strike at the knees, 1-1. Popped him up. Out toward right center field. Chase Utley is under it. And Zach Miner has a pretty clean 7th inning. No runs, 1 hit, and nobody left. And a quick tag from Chase Utley makes sure this remains a 2-run ball game as we stretch here in Philly. Quiz answer. All right, Wills, here's the question one more time. Who is the only Rockies player ever to record an unassisted triple play?
Well, you would think it has to be an infielder, right?
It would be a good guess on your part.
Is it a current day guy? I'm going to guess.
It is a current day guy.
I got a hint that it was something that I'd remember. I don't remember it. because it was evidently pretty spectacular. But let's go with Tula.
Troy Tulowitzki, is that your answer?
You know who else? Now, what was so spectacular about it?
April 29th, 2007. I think it was because it was his rookie year.
Oh, all right. Okay.
I was thinking, I mean, I don't remember every piece of it, but I think it was because it was his rookie year.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe he made one of those BB throws of his to get somebody on the back end of it. Maybe it was just one of those catch and start tagging people. Those are the easy ones.
Swing and a miss. 1 ball, 1 strike to Darren Ruff.
I don't know how many unassisted triple plays there have been in the history of baseball. They have to all be infielders. I don't think a pitcher would catch a liner and start tagging people.
Be running all over the place.
Right.
Jimenez is the lefty for the Phillies. Brothers is the lefty for the Rockies. Belisle the right-hander.
Their bullpen's been really good, especially Matt Belisle. The bullpen was good last night.
One ball, 2 strikes. Swing and a miss. He got him with a breaking ball. Well, he's now retired 12 consecutive batters. Time now for our Hyundai defensive play of the game, and it's Troy Tulowitzki.
He can still do a lot of things. He's had so many injuries the last few years. Todd Helton picks one on the other end for him. Little jump throw. That's been a specialty of his since he's come into the league. Big, strong shortstop. Looks like a guy probably should be playing third base with that body he has, but he has been a tremendous shortstop.
When Tulowitzki recorded the unassisted triple play, it was only the 13th in baseball history. Braves had runners on first and second in the 7th inning of a ball game, and Chipper Jones hit a line drive toward him, stepped on second to retire Kelly Johnson, and then Edgar Renteria, well, Tulowitzki tracked him down going from first to second. Here's Tulowitzki again, spins and throws, not in time. Ashe gets the infield hit.
Great play by Tulowitzki too, because on an average runner, he's going to get him on that play. Cody Ashe is not an average runner, as he's showing. He's above average, and he beats a play. Broke his bat, and it slowed it up a little bit. Breaks his bat right here, and Tulowitzki's playing him up the middle. Makes that spin, gets a lot on the throw. And give Ashe credit on that. He really busted it down the line. They get the tying run to the plate.
Tying run, John Mayberry. Oh, to have young legs if you're Troy Tulowitzki. As much as he's suffered injuries during his career, he can still move out there.
Especially for that size. It was always a small guy's position until Ripken. I think Ripken may have started the idea of the big shortstops, and you think how many. There have been a lot of them since. But before Ripken, there probably weren't a whole lot of great big guys that played shortstop. Usually, the shortstop was a guy that was smaller, hit eighth, and made plays.
Foul ball, off speed pitch, 1 ball, 1 strike.
One of the way the game has changed is the middle infielders became so much more potent offensive players over the years.
Phillies dugout wants De La Rosa to throw the baseball out, or at least have the home plate umpire look at it.
So he basically said, all right, I don't want it anyway.
Here you go, take it.
You think there's something wrong with it? There's a smudge? Fine, here. Throw it in the shag bag. Use a little slide step that time. It's a 2-run game, but just in case he doesn't want to give Ashe a free run at second base if he's thinking about running, so he uses a slide step.
Now Minor's out on deck, but Jimenez is warming in the bullpen.
Yeah, Phillies have a lot of right-handed hitters on the bench.
2-1 is fouled toward the Rockies dugout. There's Jimenez.
Arenado, who's got a lot of action in this game. Well, they're playing. Let's see where Tulowitzki finally settles down, but they're giving him a big hole on that left side. There you see it.
Two balls, 2 strikes. In the dirt, 3-2. He's all over the place back there.
As I mentioned last night, he's chopping. I don't know what else to say. But he battles it. He tries. Well, it's risky now to run. Way Mayberry swings and misses. But they've been hitting a lot of ground balls tonight. Now here's the decision of whether you run on the count here.
He doesn't go. And then he goes. That's ball 4.
Thank goodness.
A delayed steal.
Well, his responsibility there is not to get picked off. So he is waiting until the ball is delivered to the plate. But boy, did he wait a long time. Oof. So that's the point there. If there's a swing and a miss there, it's over. It's a double play. Actually, look how long he waits here. See, he's fooled by that leg kick. And now he takes a peek in, and he is really happy that was ball 4.
Well, they're going to bring Kevin Franzen up to pinch hit with runners on first and second, and 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th. Franzen has struggled since the All-Star break. And now Walt Weiss is coming out, so that may be it for De La Rosa. They may bring in the right-hander, Matt Belau. De La Rosa saying, So there's the signal to the pen. He's at 100 pitches. And Weiss wasn't waiting to get out to the mound, have a conversation. He's going to bring the right-hander into the ballgame. So a pitching change here at Citizens Bank Park. This is an AT&T call to the bullpen. The Phillies trail it by 2, but they have 2 on with 1 out. Here at the bottom of the 7th. MLB.com, available for your iPhone or iPad or your mini iPad. Download it free today. Bottom of the 7th with 1 out. Kevin Franzen will be the pinch hitter for the Phils. Franzen will face right-hander Matt Belau. 56th game for Belau. Franzen has faced him before. He's 3 for 5 against him with a double.
Right-handed hitter's 222, lefty's 280. He's been really effective for them lately. This guy's been a workhorse throughout his career, even as a starter at one time. A lot of sinkers. Since 2010, he's appeared in more games than any other major league pitcher. Yeah, that's a workhorse. 285 of them.
And you see Kevin's numbers as a pinch hitter. He has Ashe at second and Mayberry at first. 1 ball and no strikes. Off the end of the bat to center field. Fowler is there to make the catch. Ashe won't tag. Throw goes to second. 2 outs.
Sliders and sinkers are what he's going to feature for the most part. And it looked like he threw Kevin a couple sliders.
Well, Rollins also has good numbers against Palau. Rollins has 6 hits and 11 at bats against him. Meeting out on the mound right now between Rosario and Tulowitzki. They were stalling for Walt Weiss to make a double switch. He's got brothers, or he had brothers, loosening in the pen. So he's going to make a double switch, bring in the left-hander. Phillies down by 2 at 2 on.
And it's time now for the Major League Notebook, brought to you by Gwinnett Mercy College. Some fallout for the Red Sox-Yankees brouhaha last weekend. Boston right-hander Ryan Dempster suspended 5 games for drilling A-Rod in the second inning of that game. The play resulted in both benches clearing. Dempster hit him with a 3-0 pitch, and all 4 pitches in the at-bat were inside and tight. 3 other pitches in that at-bat, as I said, almost hit him. And also Girardi was fined in that game as well. And Wheels, you mentioned this one, Yasiel Puig, the rookie sensation for L.A. Late for a game in Miami today, arrived at the ballpark about 45 minutes late. He was not in the lineup tonight, although Don Mattingly says that was going to be the case anyway. However, he was fined an undisclosed amount for being late and breaking that team rule. So a slight problem in that L.A. Dodgers clubhouse right now, but hopefully they've rectified that, or at least for their case, hopefully they've rectified it, guys.
Yeah, between the base running issues that he had here and some of the throwing issues, he's had a rough week. As Jonathan Herrera takes over at second base for the Rockies.
Might have been the attraction of South Beach. Coming back to Miami.
That's an excellent point.
That could make somebody late.
Rex Brothers, 56th game.
We don't know that.
It's a fairly good assumption.
It's just one of those things you can throw out there as a possibility.
By the way, as far as Dempster's concerned, he is suspended, but he's suspended with pay. Runners lead off first and second. Rollins is up right-handed. He takes a strike. It's 0-1.
Is that unusual?
I don't know. I thought it was.
I do too.
Yeah. Rollins 239 this year against left-handers, 271 against lefties for his career. Outside, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, that's definitely something to look into. Why would, if it isn't, why would he be suspended without pay? Or with? Oh, you said without pay?
With pay.
With pay. Yeah, that's what sounds strange about it.
That was the initial article. As Brothers turns back towards second. Ashe is back easily. Rollins tonight 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. Fouls it back. Now it's 1-2.
Well, they obviously want Jimmy Rollins to hit right-handed. If they only Belisle's been so good for them, and Brothers has been too. But they had their choice right here: leave Belisle in the game, or to go and make another move. They wound up making the double switch and bringing him into the game.
From a power standpoint, during Rollins' career, he's better left-handed, obviously, than right-handed.
Sure.
1 home run right-handed this year. And he pulls that one, backhanded by Arenado. He flips and throws to first, and it's in time on the tag to get Rollins.
Boy, he's good.
That was an incredible play by Nolan Arenado to finish up the bottom of the 7th inning. That kid got that ball on the line and got rid of it quickly. Watch how fast he gets rid of this and gets it over toward Todd Helton. I mean, he's stumbling every which way. Pretty incredible stuff to get Jimmy Rollins from the right side. And that'll do it for the bottom of the 7th. We go to the 8th. And you can't go wrong when you buy right and buy the Quality Plus Ford stores. Go further. Go to the 8th inning. We just got a chance to see the replay of the last play. It was a tremendous throw by Arenado as you watch Rollins running up the first base line. And right there, Rollins looks back and says, did he touch me? And we looked at the replay, and he never touched Jimmy Rollins. But he sold it well.
Sold it great. All right, here's a question. Next year, if they have replay, do you use a challenge on that? And if they watch it, what do they see?
I think if they watch it, they see that he missed the tag. And I think at this point in the game, down 5-3, with the ability to have Carlos Ruiz, a right-hander, up against the lefty Brothers, because there was nobody warming up, you throw the challenge.
If there's ever a time you're going to do it, you do it then. Now, Jimmy doesn't argue that much, but it does look like he doesn't tag him. I mean, the ball's in his glove, and now he starts to come backwards with it. He did a great job of selling it that he was in the area and had caught the ball and tagged him and then throws it up. That's a veteran first baseman going around trying to sell it. And if you get it, you get it, and he got it.
Yeah, next year, if instant replay is approved, as Jimenez in the game for the first time throws low 1-0. If it's approved, then at this point in the ball game, Ryan Sandberg or whomever it is that's managing in the games would have 2 challenges.
And that certainly would be the time to use one. because that would give you a bases loaded situation with 2 outs and down by 2 runs.
Yep. 1 ball and 1 strike to Kadire, inside and low, 2-1.
Well, it's something to think about, because those are the kind of things we understand could conceivably be in the game.
Pretty much everything except for balls and strikes, pitches.
Yep.
Over toward the hole, backhanded by Rollins. Sets himself and fires in time.
It's tough to come out and argue that play for the manager, because Rollins didn't argue it himself. And they, managers are going to go off what their players do.
Yeah, just like Dexter Fowler lingered at second base earlier.
Right.
Walt Weiss came out.
That's going to bring your manager off the bench when you're out there, as you say, lingering like that, and obviously questioning it. But he didn't question it.
Todd Helton's 0 for 3. Swing and a miss, 0-1. Phillies bottom of the 8th. It'll be Ruiz, Utley, and Brown. Excuse me, Wheels.
Turned 40 today. Huh? Todd
40
Helton.
years old.
I'm sure he doesn't want to commit his first error in a year on his birthday. However, it happened.
Sargent mentioned last night that he was celebrating a birthday today, and said that he still would like to play after this year. John Mayberry will come in and over a little bit. 2 outs. And now Rosario will be up against Jimenez here in the top of the 8th inning. Tyler Cloyd started the game with the first 6, allowed 5 runs on 8 hits.
Using Brothers and Betancourt the way, or Brothers and Belisle the way they have. I guess they're closing with Betancourt, who's had some injury problems. With that Arenado, they were talking about him when we were out there earlier this year, how good he is. We saw him make some plays, and that was, as you described it, unbelievable that he even kept his balance, let alone threw him out at first, even though he didn't. But he almost stumbled twice.
John Mayberry's been busy tonight. He'll have plenty of room for this one, and Jimenez is a 1-2-3 top of the 8th inning. Bullpen has done its job, and it's 2 innings in relief from Tyler Cloyd. Middle of the 8th, Carlos Ruiz will lead it off. latest on Mike Vick being named the Eagles starting quarterback. Chevy Malibu Sports Night tonight after post-game live, only on Comcast Sportsnet. Home half of the 8th inning. Rockies on top 5-3. Jimenez, a very easy top of the 8th inning, which is what the Phillies needed him to have, because it gives the offense a chance. Down by only 2. They've only managed 3 hits tonight, though. 3 runs they scored against De La Rosa. 1 was earned. The other 2 were unearned.
Yeah, they just came very close to getting another run and being right in this ball game. But that was an amazing play to end the inning by Arenado.
Friday night, Phillies and the Diamondbacks will gather for the first of a 3-game series here at Citizens Bank Park. And all fans 14 and under will receive the John Kruk action figurine, thanks to the good folks at Total. Fans 15 and over will receive the retro print. Order your tickets at Phillies.com.
That was really good. That does look like it too, and the way he would get ready at first base, outstanding.
A little scruff too.
Oh yeah, gotta have that.
Ruiz takes up high. 1-0. Ruiz against Brothers.
Still with 6 outs to go and 1 base runner. You have the tying run up there. Home games are really nice. Job by Carlos Ruiz. Going up there like a leadoff man right now. Get on base. Get that tie and run up.
Fly ball, shallow right. There's the first out. Utley will bat against the left-hander here in the bottom of the 8th inning. So Brothers gets the last out in the 7th and the first out here in the 8th. Utley against Brothers is 2 for 4 with 2 runs batted in during his career. We'll have a conversation at the foot of the mound. Phillies are 2-2 so far in this homestand. And they've got 2 more against the Rockies tomorrow and Thursday. He's fallen behind the first 2 batters. He got the first guy, Ruiz, to fly to right. And now with the count 2-0 to Utley. See how Chase approaches this. Ball 3.
Yeah, that ball, that first strike to Carlos Ruiz was kind of borderline. I think the second one that he's flying out on looked like a strike. I think Chase Utley will be taking one here.
Watched it all the way. 3-1. Chase has one of the RBIs tonight. So he scored 3 in the 3rd. Ball 4, so that means the tying run is coming to the plate. This is Brothers inning. They don't have anybody else warming up at this moment.
Right, and after Dominic Brown, you have right-handed hitters, 2 in Young and Ruff, and then Cody Ashe, a left-handed hitter. They've had a lot of problems on the road, this team.
They've been good at home, nowhere near as good on the road. Ooh, we got a good pitch to hit there. A 95-mile-an-hour fastball in. He foul tipped it. It's 0-1.
Yeah, that's a good pitch to swing at because he's a tying run now. And as opposed to getting the left-hander get ahead and start nibbling away, he had a fastball.
At least short lead off first. 1 ball, 1 strike. That fastball down and away.
I guess I shouldn't call it nibbling when he throws at 96.
Yeah, he does throw pretty hard. Tried to hold up, but he went around on that slider.
He's had trouble with that tonight from the 2 left-handers. From De La Rosa, the starter, had a few check swings on sliders, and he swung at them. I think they're going to go fastball away.
It surprised you that they go fastball away there?
Especially with the way he's been check swinging and not seeing sliders out of their hands. Granted, it's 2 different pitchers, but still same result.
Now the 2-2 pitch. There's the slider back to the box. That might be 2. The throw sails a little bit, and Utley is out at second base.
What a play by Tulowitzki. Yeah, it's Tulowitzki. Wow. He knew right away that he had to go for a tag there. And Utley realized that too. And he's trying to get to that bag ahead of the play, and he gets a tag on it.
Boy, I thought he got to the bag ahead of the tag and then slid past the bag.
It's a great play. Tulowitzki right here knows I'm not on the bag, and they know I'm not. Now I got to.
Oh, he touched the bag.
Touched the bag is what he did.
Oh, that was a
great
really
job.
play.
Great job right there. Wow. That is awareness. That's a ball player. And Utley goes and upends him. He's trying to get to the base. See, he doesn't know what to do. He's zigging and zagging on which way to slide, depending on which way Tulowitzki goes.
Again, a good call by Mike Estabrook, the second base umpire. Michael Young is the hitter, so righty on lefty. Young is 0 for 3 tonight. 1 for 1 with a double against Brothers in his career. And a toss over to first.
Well, Philly's got a gift there. They should be on the field right now. The Rockies should be in the dugout. They gave him an extra out, so they can capitalize on it. That was a double play ball.
Utley was like a torpedo coming into Tulowitzki. Yeah, Tulowitzki knew it.
It was interesting watching how he's trying to line him up, too.
Foul tip, or foul ball, I should say. 0-2. A balk was called. Jim Wolf called a balk on Rex Brothers. So no pitch. It's 0-1 to Young. And the Phillies have a runner at second base.
And then he could have called when he didn't come set. You hardly ever see that anymore.
Mike Estabrook also called at the same time. Tulowitzki just went over to ask Estabrook what it was. So Wolf and Estabrook made that call. It looked like he came set. Jim Wright will head out to talk to his left-hander. So another break for the Phils. Let's see if they capitalize and get one back here. Dominic Brown at second. 34,018 here tonight. Jewish Heritage Night. And also Apple Vacations Baseball 101 night. The 0-1 pitch to Young. There's a strike, 0-2. Baseball 101 program, the second of 3 that they've held here. They will hold here at Citizens Bank Park. A lot of the ladies from the Delaware Valley coming out and getting a chance to learn a little bit about the behind-the-scenes operations of the Phillies. Low and in, 1-2.
A 2-out run would be so big here to get it to 1 at home. Especially when you get the runner balked to second like that. Michael Young hits a lot of balls to right field, and they are really deep in right. Dominic Brown should be able to score on a base hit to right field.
Swing and a miss. Nope, they're going to call another balk.
What is going on here?
Now, I heard that's a balk, but I didn't see who called it, if it was the home plate umpire.
Said he didn't stop. You can hear him just say he didn't stop. I've been telling him all night he didn't stop. So evidently they warned him. The umpire said something to Brothers earlier, and here it is. Here he comes. Well, that one was pretty quick compared to the other one
before the pitch. Yeah.
Yep.
But the thing is, they have to let the pitch go, and if Michael Young hit a home run, the home run would count.
Sure. Take the play.
That's why he pointed and then pulled back.
That was interesting when you can hear him say, I've been telling him all night.
Runner at third, 1-2 now to Michael Young. And he fires it foul.
Well, don't stop one more time.
Kind of the way Mike Pelfer used to be, where he used to run into trouble after having 1 or 2 called.
Yeah,
It's in your head.
He used to get in trouble with fidgeting out there, not stepping off. Oh, that was close again.
Sure was. Swing and a miss. Young is down on strikes. Rosario will throw to first, and the side is retired. Phillies do threaten to get a runner over at third, but cannot score. We've played 8 innings here at South Philadelphia. We go to the 9th. It's still a 2-run Rockies lead. Of the game. We go back to the first inning. This was a long home run by Troy Tulowitzki. Fastball that ran in from Tyler Cloyd. And that one bounced it to the foot of Harry the K's out in left field. And then in the 8th inning, well, Dominic Brown hits one back toward the mound. And Rex Brothers, his throw is wide, but Tulowitzki, what does he deliver? A heads-up play where the glove hits the bag for the force. These are W.B. Mason deliveries of the game. And now top of the 9th inning, 5-3. Phillies on top. Nolan Arenado will lead it off against Jimenez. Off the end of the bat foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. Arenado tonight is 1 for 3, doubled his last time up. Hit a ball toward the left center field gap and hustled his way to second base. High fastball, 1 ball, 2 strikes. There is Betancourt, the veteran. Put a stopwatch on that guy. He takes a long time.
Yeah, he's not a quick worker.
One ball, 2 strikes. Fouled back. Remains 1-2.
Watching him warm up out there. He warms up like he pitches when he gets in.
A lot of folks thought there was a chance he was going to be dealt somewhere to a contender the last couple of years. Still in a Rockies uniform.
Hey, he's another guy like Belial who's pitched a lot over the years.
Out toward right. 4 down for Jimenez. He worked a 1-2-3 8th inning, and every time a Phillies pitcher, starter or reliever, does that, Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports, giving you all your favorite sports all year long. Wheels, did you watch the Yankee Blue Jay game earlier today?
I watched a little bit in the clubhouse, but only about an inning.
Ichiro pulled within 1 base hit of 4,000 for his career. 4,000.
Isn't that amazing?
Now, he was not in the starting lineup tonight in game 2.
That's in 2 countries.
In 2 countries.
Still.
Ichiro with 2,720 hits in the major leagues. And over in Japan, 1,278. Or 79, I should say, for a total of 3,999.
Wow. That's a lot of hits.
0-1 pitch. A liner to right field, a base hit. So Blackman is aboard with his second hit. So 2,721 hits in the majors, 1,278 in Japan. So he's 1 hit away from 4,000. Frank DeFord, who is one of the great essayists, writers of all time, as Jonathan Herrera will bat for the first time. He made a comment today. One of his comments was, when Ichiro goes into the Hall of Fame down the road, some 7 or 8 years from now, depending on when he stops playing, it could be the largest crowd ever to go to Cooperstown to see a player inducted. Speculating that there will be a number of folks that will venture from Japan, or Japanese Americans who will venture from their hometowns to Cooperstown to embrace somebody like Ichiro going into the Hall of Fame.
And Mariners and Yankees fans.
He thought it would rival the crowd when Mike Schmidt was inducted in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
And Whiting.
Yep.
That was an amazing day. There was a sea of red up there, red and white, when all the great Phillies fans went up. When those guys both went in the same day, it was quite a sight.
Inside, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Herrera, 298 hitter, 1 homer, 14 runs batted in. Fly ball, not deep, playable for Mayberry. 2 outs. And up to the top of the order for Dexter Fowler. Fowler is 2 for 3 with a walk. There's Betancourt still warming. He's probably ready to go. 3 runs in the first, 1 in the second, 1 in the third for the Rockies.
Yeah, there's been no scoring in this game since the 3rd inning. Thinking maybe he'll run with 2 outs, and then, so they have a throw over right now. One of the reasons why Carlos Ruiz went out there, but that runner first base is in a crouch almost. It'd be tough to get any kind of jump.
Well, he's 5 for 5 in stolen base attempts.
Yeah, that might just be his style.
Cliff Lee will get the baseball tomorrow for the Phillies. Casio will get the start for the Rockies.
Saw him in a start out in Denver. He has a real live arm.
Out of play off to the right, 0-1.
He's a guy who survived getting hit with a line drive. Very serious injury. Obviously, he got hit in the head.
Carlos taking a peek into the dugout as Blackman leads off again.
Seen anything over there that makes him necessarily want to throw over on that pitch? And they're talking about in the dugout right now whether or not they would do it, and then Carlos will look over at Mick Billmeyer like that, and then Mick has some signs that he gives, and they decide whether or not they're going to throw over, pitch out, those kind of things.
That ball goes right between the legs of Ruiz. And Blackman's up in the scoring position.
Yeah, it's a wild pitch, but it's certainly one Carlos Ruiz knows he has to block. Because you can hear it hit the dirt. Maybe he lifts up a little bit.
He had one the other day that led to a run for the Dodgers.
Oh, he backhands it.
It almost looked like he was crossed up on it.
Well, he starts to backhand it, and then he tries to turn the correct way, and he's too late. And when that happened like that, then it went through the 5-hole. And he knows he shouldn't have tried to backhand that.
Fowler takes high. I talked to Bill Meyer about that the other day. Mick about that the other day. As you see the Toyota Major League scoreboard, Puig is homered against the Marlins. Remember in that Dodger game, Carlos had a ball which he tried to backhand that got away, and it turned into a wild pitch where an extra run scored, which played a big factor in that ball game. And he said, well, that wasn't Carlos's fault. He said it was a fastball. I know we said on the air that it was a ball that he should have blocked. But he said that one was not his fault. He said his mechanics are much better lately with balls in the dirt. He said it's surprising, to talk about, because he's so good behind the plate.
Well, that's a difference in a fastball and a breaking ball as far as blocking. Talked earlier about a breaking ball. They always have to anticipate it in the dirt and turn the glove the proper way. And for whatever reason that time he called a breaking ball but turned the glove the wrong way, then tried to get into position to do it, and it was too late.
Charlie Culberson will pinch hit for the Rockies. And Rich Doobie goes out to the mound. Nobody warming up in the Phillies bullpen. So a little scouting report from Doobie.
aggressive.
A little late on an 88-mile-an-hour fastball, and it's 0-2.
It looked like he was right on the first pitch, and then, as you say, late on that one.
No balls and 2 strikes. Runners on first and second. Runners lead off, and the pitch. Well, he's been consistent. He's not given anybody that pitch down. At least it seems that way. Shallow center field. John Mayberry, Darren Ruff. It's Mayberry. And Jimenez does a nice job. 2 scoreless innings, 3 scoreless for the bullpen. Rafael Betancourt's getting ready for the bottom of the 9th inning. The Phillies down by 2. Darren Ruff, Ashe, and Mayberry. Tyler Cloyd's performance against the Rocks only on Cure Auto Insurance presents Phillies Postgame Live. Darren Ruff will lead it off at the bottom of the 9th inning. The Phillies down by 2. Phillies won by 1 last night. Now they'll face Rafael Betancourt. Betancourt 15 saves and 16 opportunities for the Rockies. This is his 30th ball game.
Only 1 blown save thus far. See the opposition on hitting .216 off him. He keeps the ball in the yard. Huge for a closer, especially in that ballpark he pitches in. The right-handed hitter's only 182 against him.
Betancourt's latest injury was one of those injuries that he couldn't really control. You see Jimenez with 2 scoreless innings. He can have an appendectomy.
Yeah. What you could do about that?
No. Rex Brothers was the closer, while Betancourt was on the mend. So Betancourt will be on to face Darren Ruff, Cody Ashe. Darren Ruff is 0 for 3. He's grounded out twice and he has struck out.
Base runner.
Darren Ruff has never faced Rafael Betancourt. Michael Young has the most at-bats. He has 11 against him.
Yeah, Betancourt was with Cleveland for a number of years in the American League.
John McDonald has 8. He's 2 for 8 against him. Breaking ball. Oof. Not so much for not calling the low pitch.
He dropped the hook on him and got the call.
Now the 0-2 pitch to Ruff. And a fastball right down the chute. I don't know what he was looking for, but that wasn't it. And there's one out here in the bottom of the ninth.
No, as you said, that was right down the middle. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. That's a strike.
One away. Cody Ashe is the batter. Same objective, though, to get a base runner and bring the tying run to the plate. Ashe reached on an infield single his last time up.
The bottom line is here you are in the 9th inning with 1 out and you have 3 hits.
1 run that was earned. The other 2 were unearned against Jorge De La Rosa. One ball, no strikes. Before Betancourt came back, there was some thought that Brothers would remain as the closer for the Rockies. As that one is grounded softly to the right side, Herrera throws out Ashe. 2 outs. And as it turns out, Brothers was used as a setup man. Betancourt gets a chance to close. John Mayberry has been on base twice. He has singled and scored. He walked his last time up. Wills mentioned just 3 hits tonight, only 1 hit since the 3rd. And that was the infield hit by Cody Ashe. Popped him up. Right side of the infield. Herrera, the second baseman, puts it away, and the Rockies have held the Phillies to just 3 hits tonight, and they win it 5-3 in Game 2 of this 4-game series. Well, Colorado jumped out to a 5-0 lead in tonight's ball game, and then held off the Phillies as Jorge De La Rosa picked up his 13th win of the season. It all started with Troy Tulowitzki's 2-run home run in the first, and he is our Chevrolet player of the game. He also had some pretty good defensive plays, that one in the hole, and then that ball at second base that took him off the bag, and he then tapped the second base bag to get Chase Utley. Hey, any base runner the Phillies had tonight was an important one because they did not have many. 5-3 the final score. The Phillies have dropped Game 2 to the Rockies. We'll be back to talk a little bit more about it right after this.